Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Lincoln to Local. I'm Krista Carroll, and today we will be covering the results of State Question 820 and a brief legislative update. Joining me this week is Zach Swartz with our public policy team. So Zach, last week was the vote on State Question 820, which would legalize recreational marijuana in Oklahoma. This was a top priority for our Farm Bureau members, and State Question 820 failed by a sizable margin in the state of Oklahoma. With the results in mind, have you seen a change in attitude about marijuana legislation at the state capitol?
Yeah, that was a huge win for our membership. Obviously, we have policy that is against the legalization of recreational marijuana, and our legal foundation, our board, stepped up and supported the No campaign. Right now, I don't see any legislation, but there are some bills floating around for medical marijuana that we are tracking and watching. I could see next session seeing a lot of bills come through since that failed by 60%. So we'll see what happens.
Last week, or this week, has been a pretty slow week at the state capitol. However, going into next week is a deadline week, and a lot of bills will be on the table. Can you tell us kind of where some of the bills that we've been watching so far this session currently are, and a brief overview of what's upcoming in the next few weeks of session?
Yeah, it was a very short week. Last week, it was also a little slow moving into spring break. A lot of these legislators have kids, so they have spring break and they go on family trips. This week, it was a 3-day week, basically Monday, Tuesday, and then they gavelled in and gavelled out on Wednesday. OYE is happening this week. There was a legislative show, which several of the policy team goes out there and helps with that, matching legislators up with the kids that are showing the animals. Great event. Next week is a deadline week, like you said. We are tracking several policies or several bills that will be up next week. One of those is the hazard mitigation that our members are concerned about. So we will be on the lookout, and if we do have something hit the floor, we'll probably ask our members to call their legislators and ask for a no vote on that.
Active county members is really important to Oklahoma Farm Bureau and the grassroots mission, and we've had several county capital visits in the last few weeks and even more to come. Can you tell us about some exciting events happening at the state capitol next week?
Absolutely. Our membership's awesome. We have had several county visits to this point. Next week is no different. We'll have 3 counties, and then on Tuesday we'll have Farm City Festival, which is the Women's Leadership Committee, will come and serve lunches to all the legislators and anybody that's in the Capitol. The women do a great job, and it helps us when we go over and into those legislators' offices, and it just helps us a lot, and it's a good way of the women to give back to the community leaders and legislators.
Well, thank you, Zach, for joining us today, and thank all of you for this week's episode of Lincoln to Local.